Hey everybody, what's up? So this is going to be the opposite of the video I filmed a few days ago about my favorite things. So this is going to be the things that I don't like. And to make this a bit different from everybody else's, it's going to be a few things that I don't like and a few things my friends and family don't like about the car. So I have this list right here of some complaints that I have been given, and I'm going to address them one at a time. And the difference between the video I filmed a few days ago and this one is that I'm going to kind of cut these up. So I'm just going to cut between each problem, so that way, you know, you can skip around and I can talk more about length. But yeah, let's get it started. So we're in the interior of the car for the first few complaints, because I thought it'd be easier just to run them through while we're here. But the first complaint that I have from my girlfriend is that this car is two-toned. And what I mean by that is look, you have all this nice black, you know, kind of leather and plastic, but then you look up and boom, it's like a white cream color for whatever reason. And I have no idea why. I'm not sure why Mazda would do that. It makes it look kind of weird. I mean, I guess it might be to keep the car a bit cooler, but other than that, I don't understand why. Alright guys, so this is number 2. This is another complaint that comes from my girlfriend, but this car is kind of filled with a bunch of hard plastics. She's not a big fan of that. I mean, I understand where she's coming from. It's not the most cushy interior, but it was like I think an $18,000 car when we bought it, but it is kind of, you know, an issue. You know, it's not a super luxury car. It was made in 2012, and, you know, it could probably use some better plastics. I think the steering wheel is hideous. Like, look at this. Look at that. It like doesn't, it's not flush on either side. It looks really gross. So the plastics are pretty bad. I mean, they're not horrible. Like, at least there's no, you know, really obscene panel gap or anything like that, but some softer touch materials would have been nice. I mean, at least they have it, you know, right here and right here where it really matters. But other than that, it's pretty plasticky in here. All right, number 3. So the third and final complaint that my girlfriend gave me was a complaint that I also have. Something to do with the interior, but it's this red contrast stitching. I know they're going for kind of an aggressive look with the car, but to be honest, I would have rather just had like the Mazdaspeed 6 seats where it was all leather instead of this leather and then fucking two-tone red cloth that's on the front and the back. I personally think it's pretty ugly. Like, I wish you could have just gotten a black right here or just black inserts on the seats. And it doesn't really show up on any of the rest of the car except for the seats and the panels. Like, it doesn't really show up on the mats. It doesn't show up on, you know, it's just weird. It's kind of out of place, and I don't really like it. I would have much preferred full leather seats because it just would have been easier to clean. It's pretty difficult to clean cloth seats if you haven't done it before. But that was number 3. Okay, guys, the final complaint that I have about the inside of this car is something that I did to myself, and that is this shift knob. Now, if you can see, if the camera will focus, it's shiny. It's like a not sterling silver. It's just like a heavy aluminum ball. But in the summer, boy, does this bitch light up. It'll melt your hand. If it was sitting in the sun and nothing's covered, it'll melt your hand. So just a warning for those who want to get like a shift knob like this. Make sure you get a cover, or like you get one of those things you can put in front of the window to keep heat off of it, because this thing will get so hot. And let me just show you my cheap ass solution. I have a sock that I just kind of put over it when I leave the car in a hot spot. But I'm sure you can find something more elegant than a sock. But that's my last complaint about the inside of the car. Look at this shit, my fucking girlfriend. Okay, so for the 5th complaint, and this is a complaint coming from my mother and father, is that the car is too loud. I don't think, personally, I don't think it's too loud, of course, you know, it's just a catless downpipe. But I do understand when it's cold out, or I mean, you cold start it, it's obviously it's louder, and I'm in this little enclosed area that I have behind my house, so noise gets through really easily. And it just so happens that their room is right there. So when I cold start it in the morning, or I'm leaving somewhere at night, obviously it'll wake them up or bother them. I'm sure it pisses my neighbors off most of the time, but you know, there's nothing I can do about it. But yeah, that's number 5. Okay, so for number 6, I know I'm kind of jumping around, hope y'all aren't getting nauseous, but number 6 is a complaint from my father, and I'm sure a few other people, but he doesn't like that the car is racy, if that makes any sense. So, of course, there's a connotation with these cars that they're like boy racers, you know, same thing with the WRX or STIs, but like, people buy these cars to do stupid shit and to race. And for the most part, that's pretty much true. I do stupid shit and I do race. And it's fun, but it's also really dangerous and, again, really stupid. So that is a complaint about the car. It's, unless you're really responsible, you're gonna do stupid shit with it and you might get hurt, you might wreck it. So that is just something to watch out for. You know, you definitely have to be responsible with cars like these, especially if you're not used to the power level or you're not used to front wheel drive. If you live in an area with snow, you know, it's definitely a complaint. I know it's kind of opinion based, but it's definitely a complaint. All right, 7, and the final complaint that I have about this car and that my family has about this car is that it's fucking expensive. Now, what do I mean by that? Like, it wasn't too expensive to purchase, but it is definitely expensive to keep running, if that makes any sense. So stuff like brake rotors are fucking stupid expensive. You want 2 for the front wheels, that's about $120 if you're going the blank route, but you know, Stop Tech and Cobb will charge it almost $120. A brake rotor for your front brakes, which is insane. Fucking oil changes are kind of expensive compared to regular oil. Like, I have to use 5W30, and it, you know, I did it myself, but that was around $50 to change my own oil. Brake pads are stupid expensive. I think it was $150 for both pads on the front, not even including the back. Mods on these cars are super expensive. Like, the intake is $300, fuel pump is another $400. I mean, they're not super expensive, but like, for kind of what Mazda made, which was a front wheel drive, quick little kind of economy car that is a lower price than other cars, it's kind of expensive, you know, to keep running. You have to use 93 premium fuel or 91 depending on your area. And another thing about how kind of expensive it is to run, it doesn't really have to do with like expense, but the fucking Mazda people at the dealership. You go to the dealership and like, I wanted a brake caliper bolt for my rear brakes. You know, I did the research. They're like, you know, they use the same rear rotors and calipers on most Mazdas from this generation, and they were like, oh, you know, well, it's for the Speed 3, so it's gonna be like $20 for a fucking bolt. And I was like, no fucking way. So I went and picked one up for like $5 at Home Depot. Like, they just want to upcharge you. And I mean, yeah, it's a unique car, but it's not that unique. I mean, most of the parts from the Speed 3 are from previous model 3s and from Ford products, so it's not like it's a fucking LFA or Ferrari or something. It's a Mazda 3 essentially, so I'm not sure why everything's so expensive. But yeah, there you go, guys. Those are, I guess, 7 things that I don't like about my car. And I know this kind of seems like, you know, there's a lot of things I don't like about my car, but honestly, I do love the shit out of it. I think it's awesome. It puts a smile on my face every time I drive it. I think it looks fucking dope. It was the car of my dreams when I got it. So, you know, some of these things are bad, but definitely the benefits outweigh the costs of owning a car like this. But there you guys go. Hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you learned some stuff. And hope you guys have a great day.